Girl a wine and a broke out. She a wine and a broke out. She a wine and a broke out. Girl a wine and a quint.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. It's May 17th. Thank you for joining the powerhouseradio.com with Let's Gripe on this Wednesday. If you're in Georgia, in the Atlanta area, we got some storms going on, rain, wherever you at. Hope that you're staying safe and either you're not too cold or you're too hot. How you doing, Marcus?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Nothing. Mckenna is running late, but you know what, Marcus? I think she had too much fun for her birthday yesterday. You think?
Might be.
I think that's what it is. She just was having too much fun. But
Mm-hmm.
she's going to jump on when she gets in. But Marcus, we got some things to talk about.
What's up? What's up? Lay it on me. What's going on?
Man, guess what?
What's up?
Victor Hill had to turn himself in on Monday. Don't laugh. You're hurting my feelings.
No, I saw that clip when your boy came in there with the jet.
So, you know, everybody and their mama had something to say about how he went to federal prison in style on a private jet.
Yeah. I had something to say too.
I'm gonna hear what you had to say, but see, I'm glad he went out in style. I'm glad he went to do his time in style because you know what, and the thing is, what I believe is that it's his supporters that send him out in style. He was really a good sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the things they accused him of, he was convicted of, regardless of what. You know, I don't have no sympathy for people who do the crime.
Mm-hmm.
So, this, except what he was charged with and found guilty on, he was really a good sheriff. He tried his best. He worked hard to protect his county and keep crime away, and he did a good job. So, I'm just saying that he learned from the other folks, but they was trying to get him. So what you got to say?
Oh no. I ain't really had nothing extensive to say. Just I just saw your boy out there going out in style, jetting that thing on up, with the Hawaiian shirt. So he going on vacation on him, huh? I thought about you when I saw the clip. I said, "Oh man."
And you know, and I could imagine our listeners that knows that I'm a big Victor Hill supporter. I know they is like, okay, I can't wait to see what Tonia got to say. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm glad that he went out in style. And if his supporters, I probably missed the memo, but if they was looking for donation to get that charter plane, if I knew, I would have donated.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I would have. I would have been one of the ones who donated.
Mm.
Because like I said, there was a coworker of mine. It's over 10 years ago. Who was killed at home, and before she was discovered, he did a roadblock, and the roadblock that he set up in a particular area that day, they caught a guy on a motorcycle, had no license, and I'm not sure if he might have had a warrant, but whatever happened, they did take him in. Okay? Later on, and so come to find out, they ran the plates on the motorcycle, and it was a certain name. And they impounded and everything. And later on that afternoon, when her children came from school and found her murdered, they called 911. And, as it started, the dispatchers and everything, and the name of the individual, they was like, wait a minute. We impounded a bike with the owner of that name. So, okay. So after doing everything, after she was murdered in her home, that individual stole the husband's motorcycle.
Mm.
And if not for that roadblock, he probably would have never gotten caught.
Mm.
So there were roadblocks to pop up, and there were a lot of people that was arrested that had warrants in different counties, different states. So when I say that he was a good sheriff, he really did. He told them, he's like, if you come into Clayton County to do some stuff or to do any crime, don't come, because we're going to get you. So I do like how he was even with the residents in Clayton County, and how he was when it came to crime fighting. And so that's why I'm a very big supporter of him, and I will always be.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that it was more personable for you in that way. I don't think I've ever heard you tell that story about him. Um, so that's definitely, a little bit different, because you have a personal connection to some of the things he's done.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a little different. Folks like me from the outside looking in, I don't particularly know because I don't live in Clayton County. But I do know, policing. Um,
You on mute, Marcus. Marcus, you on mute.
as I was saying, in our neighborhoods, the relationship between police and our community sometimes is a very tumultuous relationship. And at times it's a lot of I need to do my job and I don't trust you, or I've seen your previous counterparts or coworkers or whoever else, they've done this or done that. Um, so you probably don't get a lot of I'll say this about police, not just police, but people, because we always think about like beat cops, and we don't think about like the detectives or anybody like that, who who sometimes serve the community a lot better, whether it's find out who killed such and such down the street. Your detectives are, are on the job trying to do those things, and they probably don't get enough credit for what they do. Because we only think about the police, usually typically uniformed police officers who come and arrest somebody or commit, and what we've seen recently, a lot of videos of shooting people and things of that nature. And there are many facets to the police force. Um, but I mean, I think it's hard to try to figure out how do you protect a community that don't trust you. Um, you know, and I think sometimes it's hard to navigate that. Um, but at the end of the day, you still have to continue to protect the neighborhood or community at all costs. Sometimes you're not going to be well liked when you do those things. Um, so I'd imagine that's kind of where he stood at.
But I think what it did get personal with some of the people, and it's more stemmed from even like the political part of it. And because I mean, if you see the way he walk, he's like, you kind of look at him like, oh, he's a little arrogant or whatever. But when someone is confident in themselves,
Mm-hmm.
like that's how we roll.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I call to make an appointment today, with a dermatologist, and she was like, okay, so have anything changed since you were here last? I said, yeah, I got prettier. And she was like, whoa, and she just started laughing. And I was like, but yeah, she's like, you know what, I'm gonna use that because it's not, we'll say arrogant, we'll say you all in yourself, but it's just confidence. Because like I said, if you don't look in the mirror and be like, hey, beautiful, good morning, gorgeous, like Mary J.
Right.
Blige would say, who else
Right.
gonna say? 9 times out of
Facts.
10, how many times somebody say you're beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
How often someone says it? So it's kind of one of those things. But the fact, what I really liked about him is that he did his job. And like
Mm-hmm.
I always said, what he did as far as that harsh treatment, what he did, it's been there. he didn't bring that machine in there. He didn't start that whole whatever that they call that. He didn't start it. He just decided to start doing it. But he got caught up. So again, hopefully, with good time serving, and they need to put some other people in there. He come home early. He'll just never be able to run ever again in politics. That's the only thing. But I do wish him the best. And like I said, I'm glad the way his supporters send him out in style.
Yeah.
I mean, God forbid if something happens to me. I mean, maybe I will have to put my casket in the, charter plane and kind of fly to Dubai and come back, 24 hours or so, just because.
Just because.
Want to go out in style. So, but again, just wishing him the best, and he's gonna be all right. He's gonna be all right. So, did you see that video that went viral? New York.
Yeah, I saw it. It's Hey, how are you? How you? I don't want to mess up her name, Miss James. I'm just gonna say Miss James.
Yes.
How you doing?
Yeah, she was supposed to come on tonight, but because we was having some issues with getting the studio pulled up, because of the power. But let me see. What time is it? 7:30. We might could get her in to join the conversation. But yeah, let's go ahead regarding that. That video. Start it off, Margaret.
Yeah. Man, look, I don't know, man. It seems like all the others, for the most part. You know what I mean? Like somebody, feels entitled to something somewhere, and it goes pretty much the same way. Now I definitely have. I always, not necessarily the incident, but I always want to try to see the follow up for it or the fallout from it. You know what I mean? To see what happens. And apparently, both her and her husband have had to delete their social media accounts.
Oh, so they finally deleted it.
Oh yeah. That's what I've heard. Yeah. I know the husband was mad at her.
Probably the rest of the whole family.
I ain't did nothing. I'm just sitting up here eating my Cheerios.
They linked her with her husband. The only thing that they did do respectfully, they blurred out her baby's face.
Okay.
But them parents, them in-laws, nobody is off limit.
Nobody was safe.
And I am so glad that those young Black men did not budge violently or even, here, you can have it. I'm glad they didn't do any of that. But what was amazing, so everyone who's listening, tune in. If so just to get you up to speed, there was a video over the weekend where a young Black man rented a bike from New York, those city bikes, paid for it, everything, and this physician assistants decided she wanted that bike. So she got on the bike, was trying to, get on the bike to take it. And he was like, no, this is my bike, paid for everything. So like when he wouldn't budge, she decided, okay, I'm going to scream for help. Help! Somebody help! And then she started talking about he hurt her unborn fetus. Then she went in to she grabbed his phone. But then there was another white, don't know if he's a doctor, nurse, whatever. He was in scrubs. He had a stethoscope around his neck. And he decides to come to her aid. And he's like, what's going on? So they're like, this is not her bike. He paid with his back. He was like, reset it. What do you mean reset it? You acting like that's a baby. He fighting for his toy from his sister. And you talking about just give it to her. No. They was like, no. He paid for, well, just reset it. They was like, no, it's his bike. So after that, they was like, there's a bike here. So the guy was like, well, won't you just go over there? Okay. First, she even tried to act like she was crying. Then when she got, nothing happened. But see, when it started, she realized what was going on. And she realized it was video. So she heard and took her badge off. So, but of course, again, you could zoom in on everything. So they was able to locate her employer. So on Sunday, they decided to come out and say they are aware of the incident that happened off campus. So you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Off campus.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like your company have in your handbook, when you are in uniform or
Yeah.
you have on your badge,
Uh-huh.
you got to be on your best behavior.
Yes, ma'am.
So they was trying to run with that. But a lot of successful people was like, she had on her badge when she was behaving like that. She had on her uniform when she was behaving like that. Come better now. So yesterday they decided to make another statement. Because see now the news outlet done picked it up. It's all over Twitter, TikTok, social media. Over 10 plus million views. So now they're saying, hey, she's on leave. So this other big TikTok social media influencer was like, no, we need another update. We need to know what's really going on with her job. So I am happy that they are putting their foot in those people's neck. Okay, because no, you gonna learn because and that's New York too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if the police really had got involved and she was behaving that way, MG, you know that would have really went left. Coulda, woulda, went left. Just like Emmett, what's his
Mm-hmm.
name?
Emmett Till.
Emmett too.
Mm-hmm. I'm, I maybe this is unpopular. I don't know if the lady should lose her job though. I don't know if she should lose her job. It was a dispute between getting on the bike, or stuff that happens every day. Whether it was intended for whatever it was intended for. Um, I'm just of the belief, man. Let people whatever lesson that she's supposed to learn or whatnot. She's not gonna learn by getting fired. She's not gonna learn. I think whatever people told her, and wherever job, whatever she continue to do her job wherever she works at, people gonna find out. And they may even show up at her job or whatever else. They may do that. I think the lesson be learned. But I think in a situation where it wasn't something like somebody was living somewhere and you're trying to kick them out of their dwelling. Um, she wanted a bike that that somebody else's, and it was petty. To be honest with you, it was petty. Now, um, whatever she got the backlash on social media, that's what she deserved. I believe 100%. Um, just because she tried to put on the show, um, for whatever else. But I think it's more of a in this situation. It sounds like it's more of a retribution for un un crimes of the past, so to speak. I just don't believe this was as serious, and which is interesting because we talked about the lady passing away, um, that accused Emmett Till, you know, and I was disappointed in that. Um,
I was, and I think we want her now. We want her. We want her.
she ain't
I
gonna.
think we want her because now
She,
they even put hashtag Carol and Brian. I think we want. I think right now any of them we can get we want, and
yeah,
I
I think
think
so.
the reason why okay, you can feel sorry for her. I
I don't
don't.
feel sorry for her.
You
That's
don't
not
think
what I
she
feel.
okay? So you don't. She shouldn't lose her job. Yes, she
Yeah.
should. What's his name?
Mhm.
The football player. What's his name? The one always was kneeling. Him. He lost his job.
Colin Kaepernick.
He lost his job, and he wasn't doing nothing but just protesting against police brutality. He lost his job.
Yeah, but there's been a lot of people that's lost their job over these videos, though, and some of a lot of them are deserving. I'm with it 100%.
She deserves it too because she's a physician assistant. She is taking care of patients. So again. So if you don't like what maybe a black patient say to you or whatever, what you gonna do then?
I don't know. I think it's I think situationally, I just don't know. I'm not of the mindset that she should just lose her job. Um,
For
I
her
don't know.
behavior, I think she should. That, like I
I
said,
don't know.
not that she. It's not even about how she tried to take the bike and knowing she did not pay for it. It's the
Mm-hmm.
fact that you knew this bike did not belong to somebody else paid
Mm-hmm.
for it, and then
Mm-hmm.
because you couldn't get your own way, you threw a tantrum to where you start calling for help, and people came to your rescue. Now, what if that was one of those black young men was like, yo, with a temper or whatever? That could have went left,
It
MG.
it could, but it didn't. That's my.
And that's why we need to set an example.
I I feel what you're saying, but it didn't. Like nothing about this video was like crazy. Like it's from the ones that I've
She
seen.
said this man was hurting her unborn fetus. Remember, you could go to jail now for unborn if you have an abortion at 6 weeks. So can you believe somebody said that you hit them or you roughed them up and they fetus died? That
Hmm.
person could go to
Oh, I
jail.
didn't even hear that part.
She said you were hurting my fetus, my unborn fetus.
Okay, no, I didn't hear that part.
Yes, she said that. Her unborn fetus.
Because I don't really watch these videos too tough like that. I mean, I watch most of them to get an understanding of what's going on, but not detailed. Because it's pretty much the same things over and over again.
Okay. Oh yeah. And that's why I am she just it was just too much. Help. You're hurting my unborn fetus, and you know
Hmm.
all in America and in this country. If you have an abortion, remember once they considered a fetus, no longer an embryo, but a fetus, and you have an abortion, you can go to jail.
Hmm.
Right? So
Hmm.
now this incident happened and say the next day she have a miscarriage and they said it was because of distress or whatever or because this individual pushed her if this video didn't surface, he can go to jail for killing a unborn fetus. So that's why it's so much to me. That's why I feel the way I feel with it, because of all the accusations. Help, that means you need help. Somebody's doing something to you. Then you saying you hurt my unborn fetus, and then you're like, when they start coming to your rescue, you started to, and when the man finally, when the young black man was like, I'm not giving this up,
Hmm.
and they decide this is she's not getting this bike, and the white man says, well, go to the other bike, okay, and get up and like nothing ain't happened. I got a problem with it.
You know what? I thought that was interesting though that I didn't know there was another bike available.
Yes. Yes, right beside that bike.
Interesting.
Yes.
So from what I saw from the initial video, I thought it was just like one of the guys, one of the boys or whatnot was on the other one.
He was standing behind it.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you think that the fascination or the reason why she chose that bike because it was already paid for?
I'm I'm not gonna say it was already paid for. I'm thinking that she wanted that particular bike, and he just happened to pay for it first. I think that's what happened. Cause she's a physician assistant. She making money
Mm-hmm.
in New York City. She making over 100 grand a year. So I don't think it's the money. I think it's she wanted that bike, and she was just being a spoiled brat and wanted that bike.
Okay. Yeah.
I got some bad news today regarding my godson, and talking to his mother, and I had to say it to her, and it has to do with the jail system.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to say to her, if that was done, they have to be held accountable.
Facts. I
I
agree
said,
100%.
and it's not your fault. You did everything right.
Right.
We can tell our children not to do this and not to do that, but they want to be hard-headed and they go and do it. I
Yep.
said, but don't blame yourself. And I said, honestly, if he did it, he has to be held accountable. He has to deal with the consequences. If he didn't, then we fight.
Yep.
That's just bottom line. I would say that for mines. I would say that for my nieces, and I would say it's just one of those things. If that is the case, and I think that's where right now we are when in society is being held accountable. So this could be a better place for us to live. Number one,
Yep.
A lot of times when a young black man is gunned down, a lot of times you hear the family of the person who gunned down that person, or even if they gunned down even someone outside of the race, they were a good person. They were a good person. They didn't have to do that, or, again, a lot of times we can snap because I believe that solely believe that there's a thing called snapping. Okay, some people just walk around and just want to snap just because, but I just also believe that we're at a point where accountability when it comes to things, and I mean even good things. I remember today I was working and I made an error in something, and I turned to the client and I said, "Oh my goodness." I was like, "That's my fault."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that wasn't you. That was me. That was my mistake. And I was like, "My apologies." The person was like, "Oh, that's okay." Okay, yeah, we know it's okay because we caught the error, fixed it. However, I am being accountable for my error,
Mm-hmm.
because if I didn't say that, this person could have felt that it was theirs.
Right.
And 2020, I never forget that January, I said, my motto from now on is taking accountability, acknowledging, accepting things, right or wrong, good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it works. It works for me. And I think a lot of people should try. So right now, that's why I'm at with a lot of things that is going on in society with a lot of things. Of course, we're going to jump over to Trump being indicted. And guess what? You got away with all these stuff before. So now you being held accountable. But did you see that Marine who choked that Michael Jackson impersonator in New York again? Choked it because he was just yelling, screaming, saying he hungry and no food, et cetera, et cetera. Choked him till he died.
Mm-hmm.
And that governor down there in Florida said that he was going he support him.
Of
They
course.
started a GoFundMe account, raised over
$2
$2
million.
million in how many days?
Of course. Mm-hmm. That's not surprising. That's not surprising. For George Zimmerman, they did the same thing.
Well, once again, where's the accountability? He didn't charge it you. He didn't charge it no bond. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You subdued this guy for whatever reason you chose to subdue him for. but you killed him. You know that's
Mm-hmm.
gonna kill the man. You were trained to kill. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to have to answer all of that in some kind of court case. Um, but in the eyes of public opinion, uh, in this society, it is this underbelly of people who feel like they can't be themselves anymore. You know, the people who probably should have hoods on, um, but don't feel like that'd be appropriate in these days. Um, so now they can hide um, through the channels of the internet, which is, if they want to raise money for how they feel about people, they can do that. Same thing with George Allen. Um, his legal defense was paid for, um, and the fact that wherever he is right now in life, he's able to walk around and do whatever he feels. You know what I mean? Um, should be a message that in the year 2023, nothing is going to change. As a matter of fact, more of these people feel more empowered now with the amount of mass shootings that are going on too as well. Um, so none of these things are surprising that are going on. In a lot of situations, they're sad. They gotta make a lot of people angry. Um, hopefully, hopefully, I can't say for the state of Florida because that's right now that's a dumpster fire. Um, I don't know what to say about them. They voted that guy in, and for the masses, they'll probably vote him in again. Um, but Florida is one of those states you just don't want to go. I don't want to go. I know they have beautiful beaches and beautiful people, some in some parts of it. Um, but I just don't. I could never see myself living in that state. You know what I mean? I just couldn't do it. Um, but I think more than what Trump is doing, which is I don't know. I think for me, once he stopped being the president, I kind of wrote him off as whatever. He just a guy. You know what I mean? If they charge him, if they don't matter to me. The real dangerous person is this guy in Florida, governor of Florida, because he's actively writing into laws that is destroying the American freedom. Um, so I think he's the most dangerous right now. Um, and when I saw him running for governorship against a guy who had all these scandals now and is nowhere to be found, I thought the other guy was a better candidate because I knew this guy really just didn't get it. Florida didn't seem to think so. And it would seem that the state of Florida, judging by the things that go on from the state of Florida, when you start hearing about these crimes and things of that nature, um, it fits right in with them electing him. You know what I mean? And I just, you know, like I said, I think he's a danger to not only to the state of Florida, uh, but to the entire United States. Because he's just pretty much literally going in and say, "Hey, look, I don't like this, I don't like that. Let's put it into law."
And did you see that he's banning all these black studies in these colleges?
Yep.
He just signed some other one this week. I
Yep.
think Monday or so.
Yep.
So not only the Mexicans and the Cubans, you got the Jamaicans and the Haitians are like literally running, getting out of Dodge
Yeah.
because of that law that he signed. And they are because when I went to Florida 2 weeks ago, it was so much building. Hey, Miss Butterfly, they are doing so much, just like we see in Georgia. So much building. I mean, road work, everything, and it's like it's booming. And now they have videos circulating over social media, and it's like a ghost town because especially the Mexicans and even them
Mm-hmm.
undocumented Jamaicans, Haitian, name it from whatever country, Africans, whatever, they are leaving.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute, I might need to go get me a house or two down there now because they're gonna be half built. You know,
I
let me
don't know
go and
about
get.
that.
Let me get 10 for 10. Can I get
Shoot.
10 for 10, please?
it's it's definitely the climate is definitely changing. I think I've seen that somewhere too, where they had like they were abandoned. But I'm glad these people are smart enough to know, though. You know what I mean? That this guy is dangerous, because he's really just going off whatever the GOP agenda, whatever you want to call it. He is just pretty much saying, "Hey, I don't like this, and don't think this should be in our curriculum. I don't think the teachers should teach this." I didn't know he was an educator. You know, I didn't know that was his profession before politics. I didn't know, but apparently he knows what's best for our kids, all of our kids, and
Oh,
es-
really?
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So essentially, but he's getting these laws passed though, which means that Congress, um, or whoever this house is in the state of Florida, and their Senate is pretty much just like, hey, you got it, you got the green light on everything. Because I don't think I've heard anybody from the state of Florida being like, in politics, being like, nope, nope, we can't do this, we can't do that. I don't agree. I don't agree. Really haven't heard anybody.
But a lot of them don't agree with some of these stuff, even with governor in Georgia. It's just
Yeah,
because of their party, why they're just going along with it.
yeah, but
Be-
but people in Georgia are outspoken about it though.
that you see if you kind of play around with that man's name, he just is a okay. Can't say it on air. I won't say it on air. But he trying to be something that he's not. But at the end of the day, he is going to be the cause. It's already that the inflation is already here and all over
Hmm.
in this country. But you see, once those people leave out of Florida and with those, because MG, everybody can't do construction.
Right.
Because you even got carpenters that can just probably paint. They cannot put up a sheetrock or run some plumbing lines. So a
Right.
lot of
Yeah.
there's a lot behind it. And
Yeah.
once those properties, those whatever they're building, because they building buildings, plazas, houses, once those sit there and those investors, those owners start doing bankruptcy on that, that's going to trickle down to the rest of the how many states? 51, 52 states. That's what's going to happen. It needs to anyway because prices are just too high. So I think what he is actually going to cause the downfall of this real estate market. It's already here. It was already the house prices was dropping at a slow rate, not a fast rate. But this is going to help it more because remember, everyone was going to Florida. They were selling their house in California, the New York area. These selling houses for $4 or $5 million, going to Florida buying a house triple that size for 1 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now you can't get nobody to build these houses, finish them up. What's gonna happen?
Hmm.
People gonna be like, oh no, we can't go. We gotta go somewhere else because they don't have nobody to finish these houses. Oh, they selling these houses 10 for 10. So now you gotta find some builders who could come into Florida to build those, to finish it. And
Hmm.
because they're gonna have to come over state line, oh, they're gonna charge you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't think he really thought too much about it. He's just trying to make this big statement like, hey, I would be your president. I would be the best president at this time. Because guess what? The things that y'all really want to get done, I'm going to do it for you. I think that's what he's trying to say. He's doing these things to be on the news every day. So by the time when you really start seeing them doing campaigning, they know that name. And the Red Party, they stick together no matter what. They stuck with y'all.
Yep.
They stuck with him. So they not like us black people. You do something wrong, Deuces, we out.
Right.
Yo, I'm telling you, that red party, that white party, I'm telling you though, they got each other back. Even when they know you're wrong, they got your back. But on that note, Marcus, why we don't do that? Why we don't do that? Please tell me why we don't do that.
I mean, I don't know. When you say we, in particular, who are you referring to?
To us, African American.
Okay. I think we are diverse, which is sometimes a good thing. I think we're diverse in ideology. Just the same way you could say that people wanted Victor Hill out in the same way that people wanted him in. You know what I mean? Because of his philosophy and how he felt about crime. And there's a perfect example of this disparity between our community and police. You know, on one end, you have people who definitely want a safer community. And on the other end, people that live in these not so safe community and don't want the police to have anything to do with it because they have this negative connotation about what police officers are going to do. So I think even that example is a perfect example of how we are as the African American community. As long as it's not particularly about race in general, there's no need for us to stick together.
So listen, one of our listener, which is a friend of mine, texted me. She was like, tell him I'm with him, but leave my state alone. But she said she agreed, and she said he just won't get any orange juice. Listen, I love our listeners. Y'all be on it too. I tell you, you can chat. You can go on the chat. Chat in the chat at YouTube because we can read the chat. Shout out to Madonna tuning in. Shout out to everyone that's tuning in, even if you're not chatting with us or saying hello. But thank you for tuning in because we cannot do this show without you guys. But it's just so much that's going on in our community and is going on in this country and even the world. We try to, touch on what we can touch on. But that's one of the things that the most interesting things that's going on. We have to pay more attention.
Well, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the sports thing real fast.
Which one?
Mr. Ja Morant. So I don't know if I can't remember if we talked about it or not. But maybe about 3-4 weeks ago, maybe a few months ago or so, he had did all of these things, and some of them involved a gun, and some of them didn't. They didn't know for sure. Nobody had ever seen it until a video surfaced of him with a gun in his hand in some club or something like that, of all places. So the league suspended him for 8 games. He came back, say, I went to a whoever the person that was texting you, I apologize in advance. But I want to say he went to some treatment facility in Florida for 4 days.
Florida,
yeah,
out of all places.
In Florida for 4 days. Said, oh, he a changed man. He's got the treatment that he needed. 2 weeks ago or last week, a video surfaced of him pulling out a bigger gun on IG Live. So now that first gun, which was a smaller gun, and people made fun of him for that, cost him somewhere around $40 million.
For who?
$40 million.
Man,
now it wasn't $40 million out of his pocket. It was $40 million of potential money he could have made.
Exactly.
So maybe he doesn't see the effect of that. You know what I mean? Like if it wasn't something that's already in your pocket, you don't feel it as much.
But us black people, we spend the money before we get it.
That could be true too. But if it's money that you never had, it hits differently. So apparently he's been suspended from team activity, but his basketball season is over with for now. So I don't know what that means. But they were talking about how he should be suspended and how many games he should be suspended for next year. But of course, for us, we're gonna look at it if we can a little bit differently, not differently, but dive a little bit deeper. And one of the things that was brought up too is for us, for our African American young men out there in the world. This young man is not from the hood, as they say. Um, he is a young African American who's probably played basketball most of his life. He comes from a two-parent household, his mother and his father. His father is definitely in his life. He's at every basketball game. He's become sort of a fixture for his basketball games. We don't see mom as much, but of course she's there too. He has family members. He also has a child, so he's a father, multimillionaire. Comes from what people believe is a good family, and it's this ideology to prove that somehow he's down, he's hood, um, when that hasn't been his character. From to the point where he's throwing up gang signs, to where active gang members are coming on social media saying that if he continues to do that, he's going to have to pay us for the rest of his life. Um, they're like, we need to go see about this young man because, he's perpetrating to be one of us, and we know he's not. He's 23 years old. He's still young. And I believe, one of the commentators who just happened to be Caucasian said that, which some African American commentators said too, said that he's just a 23-year-old kid. He's gonna make mistakes, and he shouldn't be receive harsh punishment for it. And the only reason I picked him out because I thought about this and it differs for me, in the sense that like we've seen non-African American teens, whoever, commit crimes, have drug addictions, whatever else.
And city bike Karen. Go ahead.
And are allowed to redeem their life and recover from it. And a lot of times our African American men and women aren't allowed to, because it's looked at as good people making mistakes for them. And for us, you are who we thought you were. And that's what I would hate for this young man to turn out to be. You know what I mean? You are who we thought you were.
So let me ask you a question, though.
Go ahead.
So he had the gun on IG.
Uh-huh.
So you're not allowed to have a gun on IG, or what if he had a license? I was trying to really find out what was the big deal, because I thought it was like maybe he pulled out a gun on someone, maybe a road rage incident. It was like he was just flossing on IG.
Nothing he's doing is necessarily illegal. However, when you work for someone, they have conduct policies that doesn't necessarily aren't necessarily breaking the law offenses. You know what I mean? Kind of, not to severe, it's a little bit less severe, but think about this. You show up late to work. That's that's not illegal, but you do it enough times, they're gonna get rid of you.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
That's probably the most simplest way I can put it, because you get into, when you talk about conduct, you get into a lot of different things that could be and can't be. But just simply knowing that your employer has a set of rules that they want you to follow. And it wasn't so much that what he was doing was illegal, but they told him the first time, hey, look, this behavior that you're doing, we don't like it. We're going to suspend you for it. You accepted those terms. You said, okay, I understand. I won't do it again. For the most part, I've learned my lesson.
Okay.
He acknowledged that, I was just, wasn't thinking clearly, whatever, blah, blah, blase, blase. Because essentially what he's done with this gun, what people are assessing, it's not that he just, brandishing the gun out, in which I believe they are correct in suspending him, doing whatever they need to do to him, because you don't want to go to a further level. because essentially some people believe that he was actually pointing a gun at other NBA players outside of on a bus. So essentially, players from another team said that they could see like a red beam coming from, I guess, him and a friend of whatever in a car or something like that onto their bus after a game. And no gun was found because they didn't know, but people are surmising that it probably was a gun that he was pointing at them. Wasn't going to shoot them, but as a clear message to send to them. You know what I mean? Essentially because he can't keep his hand off of a gun and can't stop showing it everywhere. Also, an incident that took place at his home when he was playing basketball with a 17-year-old boy and ended up punching him in the face, and then pulling a gun out on him as well, or showing him a gun, and essentially telling him, "Hey, I got this. What you want to do now?" type of thing. So he's had a lot of history of behaviors with a gun. You know what I mean? And I think at that time, as employers said, "Hey, look, enough is enough." You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, they have to protect their investments. They have over $200 million invested in this young man. I mean, whatever you want to think about his freedom or whatnot, $200 and something million invested in you as a potential face of our league, and you out here fighting and putting guns out on people.
I know, and you said that his father is in his life. His father probably done knocked him up his head quite a few times right about now.
I mean, we don't, but that's what people are asking. But it's not public.
Yeah, I mean, we know that, but I
mm-hmm.
like I said, I could see if it was my child, I would be like, what?
Yeah, I mean, well, people, I think it's hard though because what people are saying, and it's probably true to some extent, is that he's a 23-year-old grown man. He makes substantially a more amount of money than his father. What do you tell him?
Tell him the same thing. Listen, I raised you. You said you was gonna retire me, and you got to work to retire me. So, what this dumb stuff you doing? Because it's dumb. I mean, it's really dumb. You're in certain states, you get licensed, you can have these guns. Okay, you have these guns for protection. If you want to be a gun collector, okay, fine. But what's all the extra stuff for?
Yeah, it was unnecessary stuff because if you saw
yeah, that's what it sounds like.
All unnecessary because like they were in the car listening to a song, and all of a sudden he just like, oh, I want to pull out my gun to the song, and we like, what?
In a Jamaican club, when we go to the parties and they be playing music and stuff, we pull out the gun too. Prop, 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 prop. Put our fingers. That's our gun. I remember before I even hold a gun. You should have seen me back in the day. Prop, 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 prop. Some people, they used to bang on the wall.
Right,
You're not really pulling out a real gun.
He felt, and his homeboy that was filming was like, oh. As soon as he saw it on he's like this with the camera. He saw the gun. He said, "Oh!" He put that thing down.
Oh my goodness!
By then, it already went viral. It was too late though. You got to stay off that live, man. You can't make mistakes on live. Record it, upload it. That's what you got to do.
Listen, MG, you gonna have to keep us posted. You have to keep us posted on him because don't make no sense. His father needed to have somebody going live, and he knocked his behind out. Boy, you got better sense than that. You want to post the video? Post this with me beating your behind. You know what I'm saying? So, with that said, before we go, Market, what about the Lakers? Did they send the Warriors home that quick?
Oh yeah, they did. They did. They did. LeBron James. LeBron James, don't send them home.
How many games? They only won one game, right?
2.
They did. Games. Oh, they made it to 2. When I heard it, I said, "What?" All right. I guess they're going to have to sharpen up their skills for next year. But to
Yep.
our listeners, don't forget, always like, share, and subscribe. You got to like, share, and subscribe. My friends, y'all listening, you know I send y'all texts every Wednesday. We on live. Sometimes I don't get to send them. So if you subscribe to the powerhouseradio.com, you will get notification when we live. So subscribe and like it. And also share with your friends and family. Let them know that we're always here. You know, again, shout out to the powerhouseradio.com and 89.1. So apparently, Mckenna did not make it today, y'all. But when she come back next week, we're going to have to sing a happy birthday because her birthday was yesterday. So she probably still celebrating. It's okay with us because we know birthday, that is our day, okay?
Yeah,
so
ma'am.
until next week, you guys stay safe, be nice, be kind. This is Tonia saying peace out.
And this is MG. Y'all have a blessed one.
We're tuning out, and thank you for tuning through the Powerhouse Radio.
Both caught in your ear right now. If you're in your car, if you're at home, if you're on your phone, let's gripe, baby.
Driving home and you're feeling kinda tired. Hey, radio play the same thing every day, so you need a little switch in your life. Traffic got you jammed up every night. Tune in to Powerhouse. Wednesday 7 to 9, you need to check them out. I promise I ain't trying to hype, but one good listen tonight, it might change your life. So what's the name of the show? You need something to just ride to on the go. Or you might be home, so log on. You can even dial in on your phone. I promise that you're gonna love it. Just try it one time, it'll blow your mind. Now I'ma say it just one more time. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9.
Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe.
You're in tune to the Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean.
Victorious 89.1 WAKP. Your unity in the community station.